Holy crap, it's been a long time since I've made a video, guys, and I do apologize for that. But there is good reason. As I've been promising, it's not very bright out here. As I've been promising, I do have a new project. And I said I've been promising, I've mentioned in a couple of videos. I'm going to introduce that project today. I still have the Jeep. The Jeep's still going to get a lot of work done to it. That's still going to be the primary vehicle on my channel whenever I make vehicle videos. But I'm pretty damn excited about the new vehicle. It is a huge hunk of crap, but it's going to be really fun to work on. It's going to be really fun to get going, and once it gets completely fixed, it'll be a very fun vehicle to drive. Without further ado, let's see what it is. All right, so I am riding in my new project. The project is definitely the word for it, but it's a solid foundation. I don't think it will be very hard to get it back where it needs to be, but if you haven't figured it out, as you can see, guys, I talked about it before, and I got a C4 Corvette. This one is a 91 model. That means it does have the L98 TPI. It does not have an LT1. That is good and bad. There are good and bad to that. This one was the cheapest running and driving 91 and up, which means it has the curved body panels and the updated front end, and it's got horizontal instead of vertical gills. Of course, it has the newer interior, and it was the cheapest 91 and up, which would have all those things in it. Corvette on Craigslist of all of Atlanta, Alabama, North Florida, and Tennessee. Now, there's a reason it was the cheapest, but it was the cheapest running and driving, which was very important. I actually drove this home about 100 miles without a hiccup. But it has some major issue that will need to be fixed, and that's what the focus of the channel will be, or the focus of this video series will be, is me over the next about 18 months getting this Corvette in tip-top perfect condition for it to be a fun drivable Corvette. So let's go over what's wrong with it. Number one, needs all new weather stripping. As you can see, someone had the windshield wipers without blades on them coming over the side and gouging this. That'll have to be fixed. The paint is terrible. I mean terrible. Someone put a rattle can Duplicolor or color match paint job on where the paint was coming off, where the oxidation was, instead of just letting it be, it being fiberglass anyway, and just waiting till it got painted correctly. So it's got paint. The hood is terrible. Doesn't have any body damage, but the hood's terrible. The lights work. Needs new badges. This back corner is terrible, and there is a slight little bit of damage right here. Little bit of filler. We'll fix that right up. It's not cracked. It's just flaked right there at the edge where it got hit by something. But once again, terrible. Overspray here. Eat the badge. Antenna doesn't go all the way down. That's not a big deal. Obviously, other parts of the paint where someone has tried to use some kind of, I don't know, some kind of touch-up paint. Did a terrible job. It does have some bigger issues. Obviously, it's going to need to be reupholstered. The seats are terrible. They're dirty and tore up. Okay, so the door panels, terrible. Jacked up. Someone took this door panel off and tore it up, and then just basically screwed it back on with whatever they could find. Door panels are a little bit expensive. I'm going to take this one apart, see what I can do with it. All the windows and door locks work perfect. Even the power mirrors work. The bracket holding the ECM in was broken, and it caused one of the connectors to be a little bit unplugged. And so a lot of the issues was simply plugging that connector back in. When I first bought the car, the power locks, the mirrors, and this dimmer switch didn't work. Plugging that ECM back in properly fixed all that. Horn doesn't work. Original Bose radio, that thing's got to go, because this Bose system has the amps by the speakers and they all go bad, and only the right hand side works. Someone has taken this whole dash out, and I think there's some loose wires behind it, and I think that's causing some of my other issues. The trip computer and all that work, gauges all work. The seats, the driver's seat works. The passenger seat, something's wrong with it. Don't know yet. What else? Obviously another door panel needs to be replaced. It does have the top. Top's in good condition. The carpet needs to be cleaned. As far as the interior, that's really about it. Everything else is okay. Eventually I'm gonna have to replace the steering wheel. It looks rough underneath this cover. Stalks work, turn signals work, cup holders work, auxiliary outlet works. So that's all from a cosmetic standpoint that's wrong with it, and that's a lot. So let's talk about the mechanical issues with it. You'll see these two switches, and I'll talk about those in a second. Someone was smart enough to pull the OBD sensor out and mount it right there. It needs to be remounted. That's pretty smart, actually. But let's pop the hood and see the goods or bads. So there she is, guys, and I've already done some things to it. So I didn't take videos of it because I got it home and I wanted to immediately start working on it. You can see it is rough. Let's go over what's wrong with it first. First, AC lines not hooked up. Compressor seems to be fine, but the condenser has been broke. So it needs a new condenser, needs a new dryer hose, and I've got the dryer and all that in the two high and low pressure lines. So it needs a condenser and a dryer hose. It needs new battery. The battery's weak enough to replace. It's going to need those new valve covers, even though these are fine, they don't necessarily leak. The only other big mechanical issue, there's a couple small ones, and the biggest one, the fans work on those switches. So the guy hacked together some wiring here. I've kind of tried to start fixing it. So here's the issue, and we'll go over a video here in a minute on how to diagnose these fans. But someone didn't diagnose what was wrong with the fans and just hacked together switches to turn them on. They work. It keeps the engine cool. Everything's fine, except that I want it to be back to stock. I want my wife to be able to jump in it and drive it off. I want to be able to jump in and drive it off and not worry about switching fans or anything like that. The headlights do flip up and all that works fine, by the way. It does have a slight oil leak. I don't know if that's going to be a rear main. I don't know if it's a very small oil leak. I don't know if it's going to be a rear main. I don't know if it's going to be the plug. And I don't know if it could be just the oil pan. It's all dripping down around the plug and then dripping on the ground. I can't tell if it's coming from above the plug or if it's just a plug. Hopefully it's a plug, but I'm betting it's going to be something much more labor intensive, because that's my luck. And that, from what I can tell, is all that is wrong mechanically with it. So let's go over what I've done so far. So the first thing I realized was this bracket was broke, and I made this little bracket to hold it for the time being. That's pretty sturdy. I was going to buy a whole new bracket, but I don't know. I'm not really concerned about how ugly that looks. I may just paint it black. And that worked perfect. The thing is in there now. It was flopping around in here before, and this plug was unplugged, which caused some of the electrical issues. Number two, I did rewire some of the fans so that it's wired correctly now, and there is one wire break in the ignition line going to the relays, the ignition wire. I'm going to have to find that break, and those will be fixed. We'll talk about troubleshooting that in another video very soon. For those that know Corvettes, know something is missing here. Of course, this is the plug for the AC compressor. It's unplugged right now because the AC compressor is not all hooked up. And you see where the dryer is. I already took the dryer out because it wasn't hooked up. So I'll be putting that back in because I will have working AC. But those that know Corvettes know something's missing right here. Something pretty big. Let me just show you what all I pulled out of this engine bay over the last day and a half. So all this came out, and if you know anything about that vintage of vehicle, this is the smog pump. Well, actually, this is the air diverter pump that, I don't know what the name of all this crap is. This is part of the smog system. The car's designed to have an accessory pump that's ran with a serpentine belt. Serpentine belt turns that pump, shoots air into here, through here, into here, And then this diverts it down to the headers, one on each side, and then also diverts air to the cat. It has to do with warm-up situations and the catalytic converter and emissions working properly when the car is first cranked. I don't need any of it. It's useless. It just clogs up the engine bay, and you can undo all of it without affecting the computer or the sensors or anything else. There are two sensors right here. I took them out as well. You can unplug those without any adverse side effects. So that's the air pump. It will stay there because I gutted it. So now it's just a bearing pulley. It doesn't actually pull any horsepower or anything like that. This is where it went into the headers. You can see I capped those off. That is a 1/2 inch pipe thread. And this is the last hose to get out. This goes to the cat. And I have to get under the car to get that out. So that'll be the last hose to come out. For right now, it's not hurting anything. These are the plugs for the two sensors. They will go, I'll just wire them or push them back into the harness and tape them up really well. Another thing I've done, I've put a new temp sensor in underneath the throttle body. That's where the fans get there. I replaced all the components in the fan system to make sure those were good. These cars run at like 225 degrees, 230 degrees. I'm not used to that. My Jeep gets over 210 and it's done. I'm pulling over or something. I'm not used to that. So I want to run as efficient and as cool as possible. So I've replaced those relays. I've replaced the temp sensor, one of the temp sensors. And now I'm going to redo the wiring and it all should be good. So you may be asking, what are the plans besides getting it back up and going? Because I do want it to be a unique, good looking Corvette. I'm going to paint it myself. That'll be a video series. I'm just going to paint it back black. And I'm not going to be doing a show quality paint job. Just enough because I am going to drive the hell out of it. I will be taking the catalytic converter off and getting it have a more aggressive sound. I may put some aftermarket mufflers and tips on it. I don't like the quad tips that come in this vintage Corvette. The seats will be changed out for some C5, C6 seats. Those seats have very high bolsters, and they are made for someone a whole hell of a lot skinnier than me. So I am pinched when I get in them. I can do that or I can lose 30 pounds, and I'd rather spend the money. That's a given. I've got to put a new stereo in it, doubled in with a nice screen, Bluetooth, all that, and wire up the new speakers. I'll be doing the air filter mod, which we'll talk more about that later in an air filter video. I'm going to get C706 replica wheels in 17-inch, because these are all 17-inch wheels on it, in a dark gray. I'll be tinting the windows. But other than that, that is all I'm going to do to it, other than drive the hell out of it. I'll do a lot of little stuff. I'll be probably putting LED headlights and fog lamps in it, LED interior lamps, just little stuff like that. And I'll make videos of every bit of that, because I'll be trying to do going forward a video a week, one on the Jeep, one on the Corvette, one or the other. We'll see. I don't know. I might not do another video for 3 months. I might do 4 next week. I'm not that reliable on video, if y'all hadn't figured it out. But if you want to come back, see how to work on this Corvette, I will show the fan diagnosis. We'll talk a little more about taking out the pump. I will be doing the mod where you route the coolant out of the throttle body. This thing has coolant running through the throttle body. That'll come out. I will be answering my phone. Hello. Hey, yeah, you're on video right now. Yep, say hey.
Hey, I'm on video. Woo.
I don't think we can hear you. What'd you say?
I'm on video.
You are. You are.
I'm famous.
No. All right, sorry about that. Guys, I'll be just doing all the basic Corvette stuff for C4s, especially for the L98. L98's around 245, 250 horsepower-ish. It has a lot of torque. I can't remember exactly, 320 to 335, somewhere around there. So it has a lot of torque. Of course, with an automatic transmission, that's not going to come through as good as with a manual. I did look for a manual, but this was the cheapest running and driving that I could drive home Corvette on all the Craigslist that I could find. And we'll talk more about what I spent on it in another video. It wasn't much. And as you can tell, it shouldn't have been much, because the car's a big hunk of crap. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy the video series coming forward on the Corvette. And I do appreciate the views. I appreciate the subscriptions. For those that are subscribing for the Jeep is coming back very soon. I've got a couple of videos that I'm just editing right now on the Jeep. Some things I'm doing to it that will be very interesting. So stay tuned for that. Guys, I do want to point everyone's attention to my shirt. It's a shirt I created on Spreadshirt. I do have a Spreadshirt page. So guys, go check out my shirts. The links will be in the description. Right now I've got several Jeep shirts and some American shirts up here. This is a Jeep shirt that has the flag with all different Jeep grills, YJs, JKs, TJs, Willys, more YJs, and then Together We Stand. Go check it out. Links are below. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. It helps a lot. If it's your first time coming to the channel, then please subscribe. And I will see y'all very soon with some pretty cool videos, hopefully. Bye and have a great day, guys.